Hello and welcome back to the first Unstoppable episode of the decade. We have all the GW sports coverage you need going into the new year, and I'm so excited to do it alongside my friend and our new co-anchor, Grace Stevenson. Grace, welcome to the desk. What do we have going on this episode?
Thank you, Isabel. I'm so excited to be here as your new co-anchor. We've got a great show coming up tonight, taking a look at all of our winter teams. We'll start with men's and women's basketball, and later on we'll get into men's and women's swimming, followed by men's and women's squash. Then to wrap it up, we'll bring out our favorite Hot Takes host, Savannah Guida, to throw us a few hot topics to discuss.
All of this and more on Unstoppable. Well, it has been a nice long winter break for us here at Unstoppable, but that doesn't mean the men's basketball team hasn't kept us on our toes as they continue into A10 conference play just a couple weeks back here in DC. The last time we talked, the team was on their way out of a 4-game losing streak and into a warm weekend at the Bahamas Showcase. They left Paradise Island securing a 5th place slot, beating out the Milwaukee Panthers with a slim 3-point lead, 66-63. But I guess the sun got to them down in the Bahamas as they returned back to the district only to lose to the University of South Carolina in a 9-point loss, 74-65. Despite the loss, though, first-year Jamison Battle and senior Armel Potter continued to anchor the team through some tough losses and close victories, including the unexpected buzzer beater against Boston University, ultimately winning 64-63 in the final seconds of the game. Let's not forget to throw Jameer Nelson Jr. into the mix, forming a colonial trifecta as they continue to defy the odds, specifically in a record-breaking victory, knocking the undefeated Delaware Blue Hens down the ranks, beating them 66-56 with Arnaldo Toro leading the pack. The Colonials were on a winning high going into winter break, until they came back to the Smith Center, only to fall right back into a 6-game losing streak, besides the Longwood University win with a 78-65 win. Of course, the Potter and Battle duo came in to clean up the mess, securing a 73-67 victory against our revolutionary rival George Mason, with first years Chase Parr and Sean Walker Jr. proving their skills on the court as new Colonials. Was it the Potter and Battle duo that brought the team to victory, or those record-breaking tricorn hats? Yep, that's right. Our basketball team may not have a secure winning streak, but we do hold the Guinness World Record for the most people wearing a tricorn hat under the same roof. The Colonials went on to defeat UMass in a 75-51 victory, with a longtime unstoppable favorite Maceo Jack scoring 20 points in the game behind Potter with 22. That brings us to our most recent game against Fordham, where the team only lost by 4 points, and here to break all of it down for us, you know her, you love her, our senior basketball correspondent, Savannah Guida. Savannah, is it just me, or did the team get a little too much sun down in the Bahamas?
Well, guys, it's been a while since we've talked about men's basketball, but to be completely honest with you, I am 100% tuned in to A10 play. I forgot all about the Bahamas. So the team's doing much better than when we were last in studio. They're 10-11 right now, and they're actually 4-4 in the A10. Obviously not the most secure winning streak, but you can see a lot of improvement and growth. And the most important factors into them winning more games recently have been their growth, their confidence, and their fans. As Jamie and Christian said in the last press game conference, the Smith Center had one heartbeat against Davidson.
Savannah, what would you contribute there? They obviously had a major win last night against Davidson, quadruple overtime. What factors would you consider are big in that game compared to some of their past games that they've lost?
Well, unfortunately, the team did suffer a lot of injuries in the beginning of the season. Javier Longarica was out with a wrist injury. He's still out. Justin Williams is still going through concussion protocol. AT is not 100% with his lower body injury, so they're very iffy about putting him in because they want to make sure that he's 100%. So it's really been up to the freshmen to step up, and we've seen Jamison Battle take on a leadership role since the home opener against Howard. He's been unstoppable since then. Also, Jameer Nelson Jr., who dunks every single game, but most recently, I think our biggest factor has been Chase Parr. Without AT, we don't really have a solid rebounder, and he's been that guy to come in, get those rebounds, be more aggressive for the defense, and actually he's had 2 consecutive double-doubles in the last 2 games. So, I mean, kudos to him. He's been great for us.
So yeah, going off of what you were saying about Parr, it's amazing that we have such heart and soul in these new freshman players, and they're super excited to get on the court. And it's really exciting that they are taking this new opportunity and really going with it. But along that same vein, Jamison Battle, Armel Potter, and Jameer Nelson Jr. have kind of been the leading players so far, of course with AT and Maceo Jack, obviously. But what do you think is going to happen now that Armel Potter is injured? He's been, a leading scorer in most of the games so far. How will freshmen Jamison Battle, Chase Parr, Sean Walker Jr., how will those guys be able to step up and take that clean up for those injuries?
Yeah, well, I mean, as for Armel, he got out the first half of the game against Davidson and then was back on the sideline with crutches for the rest of the game. We don't have a status update on him yet, but crutches are never a good sign. We're hoping that maybe it was just a small tear or something, nothing too serious, so that he will be back. But in the case that we don't have him on that court, I think it's really going to be up to Chase Parr to start being way more aggressive. He's already doing a good job. He's got a lot of heart. He's all in, but he's also still learning. So if he could just learn a little bit quicker and improve his game, I think he's going to be one of those top players. Jameer Nelson Jr. is probably going to turn into one of the leading scorers because right now he's the fourth leading scorer. Armel is obviously the first, but without Armel, it's going to be Jameer who's going to have to step up. And Jamison Battle, who's still shooting the most three-pointers on the team, he's going to have to work on his three-pointers because he hasn't had a lot of luck lately. He's still keeping up his streak of making at least one three-pointer in every game. But if you look at, for example, the loss to Fordham, Jamison only made 1 out of 10 of his three-pointers. And Maceo Jack only made 3 out of 13. So it's great that they're attempting them and they have the confidence to shoot them. They just have to work on making them.
Well, we'll look forward to seeing them as they continue through the A10 conference and hopefully into the A10 championships. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Women's basketball has been struggling to bring up their overall record since their major blowout loss against the Minnesota Gophers back in December. Since that game, they've lost 7 of the 9 games they've played, bringing their overall record to 9 wins and 11 losses. Within conference play, they currently hold a record of 3-4. However, of the games they've lost, the deficits have not been more than 10 points, proving that with some work, this team could turn these somewhat close losses into wins. Despite their recent streak of losses, junior guard Sydney Zambrata is back from injury, and both freshman players Tori Hajduk and Mayoa Taiwo are giving the team key scoring opportunities. Zambrata scored 16 points in her first game off the bench against Duquesne, and Hajduk and Taiwo are averaging 15 points per game consecutively. Taiwo is also averaging 6 rebounds per game, putting her in the top 15 players in the A10 and making her a key defensive player, grabbing rebounds off the glass. The combination of these 3 players on the court will be key if this team hopes to improve their results. But let's not count out our other freshman, Faith Blethen, who has consistently averaged 6.5 points per game and is currently in the top 15 A10 players for three-point percentage. And while this is just a brief overview of the team's current status, here to give us a better look at the team is our resident women's basketball correspondent, Bella Crochane. Bella, what are we looking at with this team? And what are we looking at in terms of key players going into the A10 conference play?
Well, we can see in the past 2 games against St. Joseph's and UMass that we did win, that the team is kind of starting to pick things back up. You mentioned Faith Blethen. She's really been an outstanding player. She had 3 3-pointers in a row in the end of the last game, totaling 11 points overall. And it's really been a couple of just really key players that have been able to bring this team back. They haven't had more than 2 wins in a row since December 4th and December 7th, so they really need to start picking that up again. But as for the St. Joseph's game, the game is going back and forth. They need to strategically work on their defense because their defense is lacking. Their rebounds are lacking. Their offense is good, but if they can't get the defense, they're not going to stop it.
I think so far their record has been pretty consistent, but like you said, there are definitely some places for them to polish up going into A10 conference. So just talking a little bit about Sydney Zambrota, who just came back from an injury and has had Tori Hajduk and Taiwo, who, like you mentioned earlier, is one of the top A10 players in the conference. So what do you think going into the rest of the season, how these freshman players have been really contributing? How will they be able to contribute to our current star Zambrota, who's a junior? She'll be taking a leadership role next year. Will these freshmen be able to supplement that? Do they need some more work?
Well, I think a perfect example of that would be the UMass game on January 26th. Zambroda had a standout game. She and Stevenson were the ones that closed the win. But then you look at Tai Wow. She carried the win with the most points, the most rebounds, 14 points, 8 rebounds. So they haven't been super consistent, but when they are, they're all working together, and like you can see that makes such a big difference.
Yeah, I think this team has really been about the freshman leadership. With Zambroda out, I mean, she's such a huge contributor to this team. And now that we have these two freshmen, Faith Blethen and also Tori Hyduke as a redshirt, I think that they both play such an important role. I mean, Tori's been incredible on the court. She's been a huge scoring impact on the team, and she's just been great overall and really helping the team bond and grow stronger without Sydney Zambroda.
Right, and also another name to point out, Maddie Loader, who has been a popular name here on the show since last season. She was one of the lead scoring freshman players last season and continues to be a lead scorer going into this season. So definitely another name we would like to keep in mind. But yeah, so just kind of wrapping it up, what do you think is the season's looking like for the remainder?
I think they have a good chance of continuing their winning streak as long as they tighten up their defense and their rebounds, because that's what it's all about. And they need more accuracy with their free throws and their three-pointers, because once they tighten everything up, it's going to be much easier for them.
Thank you, Bella.
And of course.
Let's dive into men's swimming as they continue to make a splash this season. Andrew Cho is dominating this season, just missing a first-place backstroke title by 0.03 of a second at the Fall Frenzy Invite, alongside first-year George Aspugalis, securing a second-place title in the 200-yard breaststroke. Aspugalis has become a familiar name here at Unstoppable as this first-year breaststroker continues to prove himself every time he jumps in the pool, and we've continued to track his progress as the season goes on. Aspugalis, along with 10 other Colonials, were invited to the U.S. Open Championships in Atlanta. The 3-day meet is a chance for the nation's top collegiate swimmers to compete in Olympic facilities with the hope of showcasing their skills on the Olympic level. The upperclassmen powerhouse, including seniors Andrew Cho, Moritz Foth, Max Forstenhausler, and Emilius Pone, all finished with top 100 titles. But our first-year star, Aspugalis, continued to impress, going on to the D finals of the meet's top 18 and under swimmers, finishing 45th in the 200 breaststroke. The team celebrated their seniors at the Smith Center with a victory against our crosstown rival, Georgetown University, but recently fell to William & Mary 137-67. Joining me here at the desk is our men's swimming correspondent, Arjun Cowell. So Arjun, what's going on this season?
The new year has led to a lot of ups and downs. I mean, they won 153-90 against Georgetown to start off the year. Junior diver Peter Nashtway posted a season-high score of 308.20 on the 1 meter before landing a 328.40 on the 3 meter. These impressive scores secured him a place at the NCAA qualifying meet for a third straight season. The swimmers continued this success, with D.H. Wang coming in first in the 500 meter and 1,000 meter free. And Honeng Chen had success in the 200 meter free and 100 meter breaststroke against the Hoyas. In all, the Colonials won 9 of 13 events, leading to them unveiling their A10 championship banner in the Charles E. Smith Center. However, they did lose the next match against William & Mary 67-138. This tough loss did see D.H. Wang win the 200-yard butterfly along with his personal best time of 1 minute 52.54 seconds.
Arjun, we've heard a lot about Moritz Foth. He's obviously played an important role on the GW swim team. How would you say his position has impacted this team?
I mean, we have great standing in the A10 conference championships because of him. He won the A10 championships most outstanding performer in 2019 and currently does own 13 conference medals, with 10 of them being gold. As a senior, I think he'll provide great insight for the team and give us the push that we need to win the conference championships.
And what about this inconsistency with, winning meets, losing meets, then going onto Olympic facility type swimming, and then coming back here to the Smith Center and losing? What is up with this inconsistency throughout the season as they go into their last meet?
I would say the Olympic event did give a lot of the swimmers a new insight into what swimming actually is. They got a lot of great experience, saw amazing competition, and that really did prove to be beneficial in their next meet at Georgetown, which they won by a huge margin. This win may have maybe blindsided them against William & Mary, a strong competitor, but with these ups and downs, I do feel like we're going to come back, we're going to be West Virginia on Saturday, and have our best foot forward for the A10 Conference Championships.
Well, we'll hope to see them at the A10 Conference Championships doing really well, and thank you so much, Arjun, for coming.
Thank you guys for having me.
The women's swimming and diving team is off to a great start in 2020 with a big win against rival Georgetown, 155-88. Despite only having 2 meets so far this year, they've come off a great run in November where they placed 2nd and 3rd consecutively at the Queen's University Fall Frenzy in Charlotte, North Carolina. The team currently sits at number 2 in the A10 and are in the top 50 NCAA Division I teams. Freshman Omdal Peterson and junior Megan Burton have particularly good showings at the recent Fall Frenzy, with Peterson placing 100th in the 100-meter breast with a time of 1:14:37 and Burton placing 109th in the 100-meter fly in 1 minute and 3 seconds. On the diving side, freshman Caitlin Anall and junior Rachel Dickinson have had impressive performances from both the 1-meter and 3-meter diving platforms. Anall scored a 2:21.25 in her 3-meter dive, and their meet against BC and Dickinson in that same meet scored 2:30.93. As we look ahead to their upcoming match against West Virginia and then to the A10 championships, keep an eye out for these women as they continue to push GW's team higher and higher in the rankings. And now to give us a better look at this women's team is our women's swimming correspondent, Richie Wright. Richie, what are you seeing with this team so far?
I think they've shown a lot of good progress for 2020 so far. They had a sound victory against Georgetown, 155-88, like you said. Gemma Atherley and Jackie Torres were 2 seniors with great individual performances. Atherley won the 200 free with a time of 1:52.71, and Torres won the 200-yard individual medley with a time of 2:07.54. And at this event, they won 10 of the 13 events against Georgetown. And we also saw that the 53 was dominated by GW, with the top 4 spots all taken by GW, including senior Sydney Melnick finishing 4th for that. The loss against William & Mary was a close loss, but we still had good performances as well. Jackie Torres again had a strong showing on the 200 fly. Also, players Andrea Ho and Courtney Szynski won the respective events in the 200 back and the 200 individual medley. So looking ahead, going into West Virginia's meet, I think that they're going to have a good showing for that.
So who are some of the key swimmers that we should really keep an eye out for the remainder of the season as we're kind of looming into the last couple meets? Who are some players that we should look for, and what are your expectations for them?
Like I've been saying, Jackie Torres is a senior, and she's doing really well, I think. She posted career bests back in the fall during the Queen's University Fall Frenzy. The 100-yard freestyle was a personal best of 52.62, and the 200-yard freestyle was 1:51.87. And then she also had her first place finish in the 200 fly against William & Mary with a time of 2:02.16, which was over 5 seconds faster than who was in second place. So she's been performing consistently well, and I think she's be looking to carry that momentum forward into this coming meet against West Virginia, as well as the championships later on.
And Richie, as the season comes to a close and we wrap up, how do you see the senior leadership carrying that, and then future leadership coming up and moving into next season and future seasons?
I think the seniors are doing a good job of performing well at each meet, and that's definitely inspiring some of the younger ones. Courtney Szynski is another one to look out for. She's a sophomore. She had her season best time of 2:08.18 against William & Mary in the individual medley, and I think she's one of those younger players that'll help inspire other younger players to perform better at each of these meets moving throughout the rest of the season and into next year as well.
Well, thank you so much, Richie. It looks like this team is definitely doing well, so thank you so much. We're going to take a quick commercial break. Stay tuned.
Hi, Colonials. Did you know there are hundreds of ways for you to volunteer with GW? Each year, over 1,500 alumni, parents, and friends contribute thousands of hours to make our community stronger. There are countless ways you can volunteer, so it's easy to choose an opportunity that is most meaningful to you, like connecting with students and alumni based on your student involvement, identity, or personal interests. Getting involved with your local alumni network. Mentoring a current student via our online mentoring platform. Connecting with prospective students through undergraduate admissions opportunities. Serving on an industry network leadership council. Becoming a social media ambassador. The list goes on. No matter where you are in the world or how much time you have to give, you can connect and volunteer with GW. And the best part, it's easy to get involved. Just visit alumni.gwu.edu/volunteer to learn more about these and other opportunities. Because of your service to GW, you are able to make a direct impact on the lives of former, current, and future students. We look forward to working with you. Raise high.
Welcome back. The women's squash team continues to fight on as they moved on from their 15th-ranked position to 14 over the past couple weeks. The team ended their fall schedule with a 6-3 loss to the University of Pennsylvania. But despite the loss, our queen of the court, Zoe Fu-Yak-Han, came out and dominated and continues to maintain her program best record. Co-captain Engie Almondu also held down the fort alongside Fu-Yak-Han despite the significant loss. After a clean sweep loss to Trinity, the team went on to defeat Vassar, Middlebury, and St. Lawrence in a 3-game winning streak. The momentum did not stick for long as the team went into a 6-game losing streak to some of the highest-ranking teams in the country. Will Fu-Yak-Han and Almondu be able to pick up the slack going into the remainder of the season? Only time will tell, and our Unstoppable correspondents will be covering it every step of the way.
Men's squash has struggled to hold up to expectations in the second half of the season, with key losses to previously 11th-ranked Dartmouth and 14th-ranked Cornell, dropping their overall ranking from 9 to 10. While this may not seem like a big jump, the team has lost a bit of momentum since their 5-game win streak against teams including Navy and Williams, which are both in the top 20 within the CSA rankings. Despite GW's losses, junior captain Salim Khan and senior captains Jamie Oakley and Iñaki Delorier have posted impressive performances. Prior to GW's match against Yale on Sunday, Salim Khan was riding off an 8-game win streak with a huge straight-set win against Cornell's Charles Culhane. While captains Jamie Oakley and Iñaki Delorier have not held quite the same streak, many of their recent losses have been forced to 5 games, proving that they are right on the cusp of turning those losses into wins. Time will tell if this team can turn it around before regionals and nationals later this month, but all eyes will be on the junior and senior leadership to motivate and propel this team to success.
Let's flip on over to gymnastics, who opened their season off to a fabulous start, securing a 2nd-place slot at the Little Boston Invitational. Senior co-captain Sydney Krasa held a team-high score of 9.800, along with junior duo Katya Karpova and Rachel Kaplan setting the bar high. The team continued on their 2nd-place streak at the Lindsay Ferris Invitational, this time with sophomore Deja Chambly securing a career high of a 9.875 score, earning her way onto the podium. Chloe Vitoff also hit a personal best with a 9.825 score, ultimately coming in 3rd place. That brings us to the most recent victory, securing a season-high score of 194.350 against UC Davis, with Krasa anchoring the team. We look forward to covering the gymnastics team as they continue to fight on for the remainder of their season.
We'll be taking a quick break, but don't go away. Next at the desk, Isabel and I will get thrown in the hot seat with our very own Savannah Guida. Stay tuned.
All right, we'll be ready in about 5 minutes.
I'll be ready. While these guys finish up, I got a few things I want to show you. Come with me. Over the summer, we gave a lot of things a new fresh coat of paint and a new look, including the Vern Shuttle Express. Take a look at this. Oh, there you are. I thought I'd lost you. Come on with me. I want to show you the new all-you-can-eat dining option out at the Mount Vernon campus. Hey, I can charge my phone in here. I'm stuffed. You got to try the mac and cheese. It's great. I got one more stop to make. I got to get my gear for the year. Let's go to the bookstore. You can't have too many GW ties. You need to get out in your buff and blue. I want to see at all the events and the games, raising GW high. One of the things I heard from a lot of our students is we need more community space, a place to eat, study, hang out with friends. Like this one. This is one of our new spaces. We need to get going. Got to get back. This is going to be an exciting year.
And action.
Welcome back.
Happy 2020, Unstoppable fans. It's a new year, and my favorite segment is back. It's time for Hot Takes. I'm your host, Savannah Guida. The rules here are simple. I'll ask a question to our 2 anchors, and they will get into heated arguments with each other for your viewing pleasure. To start things off, let's debate a bit about GW sports. It's no secret that our men's basketball team has improved tremendously since last season. In fact, they recently persevered through quadruple overtime, 60 whole minutes of college basketball to triumph over Davidson in a score of 107-104. What do you think has been the most significant factor in this team's growth and success? Isabel, let's hear your thoughts.
Well, Savannah, I think there are so many factors to consider with that question. The freshman players, the senior players, all of the new faces that we've seen on the court. But I think and not to mention the tricorn hats. I definitely think that is a big factor. But I think our biggest factor is 100% Jamie and Christian. He has brought such a new, fresh energy that our team has needed for so long. And not only is his heart and soul on the court, he's also invested in the fans and the students, even us here at Unstoppable. He's so invested in the GW community, and that energy is 100% translated back onto the court and with his players, with this whole team and this whole community, as I said. So I credit everything so far this season to Jamie and his staff, and again, the energy that he brings.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that. I think that Jamie and Christian has just brought so much to this team, and especially with this recruiting class. I mean, Chase Parr, Jameson Battle, Jameer Nelson Jr., they're all star players, and this is what GW needs to be able to build a program for the future and to continue to develop back to what they were 20 years ago when they were a top team in the NCAA. So I think he plays a huge role. I think the freshmen have really stepped up, which is key. I think some senior leadership has been big with AT. He's really stepped in, and I think this team has just really developed well, but Jamie and Christian are definitely a big part of that.
I agree with you guys 100%. The coaching staff has been amazing. They've done such a good job at getting the student body involved and getting people hyped up for the games. Isabel, I'm going to give this one to you because you mentioned the tricorn hats. I'm a big fan of those. But Grace, you might get the next one. Next up, it's Super Bowl season, and we've got an interesting matchup ahead of us. The San Francisco 49ers versus the Kansas City Chiefs. Which team is going to be the one to hold up that Vince Lombardi trophy at Hard Rock Stadium on February 2nd? Grace, take it away.
Well, I have to say, I think that the 49ers are my pick because their defense is unbelievable. Some of the best in the league, to be honest. And I think that it's hard for me as a Patriots fan with having our quarterback go to the to the 49ers, but I think that while I love the Chiefs and their young leadership and their quarterback, I think that the 49ers defense is going to be able to shut that down, and that's going to be the ultimate difference between their winning.
Well, Grace, I know that you're new in this seat and everything, but here on this show we don't mention the Patriots. And so I don't have an answer to this question because the Steelers are neither one of those options. So I am just going to refrain from answering that. Really, I'm not cheering for either of the teams, both of them. Neither of them are the Steelers. So if I had to choose, I'd probably go with Kansas City just because I like them better than the 49ers. But again, I really don't care because none of them are the Steelers.
All right, well, since Isabel did not choose to answer, Grace, I think you're the clear-cut winner here. Personally, I'm predicting a Chiefs win. Patrick Mahomes only threw 5 interceptions this whole season, and we've got one of the best receiving duos in the league, Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. They're unstoppable. Not that I'm a Chiefs fan, I love my Giants, but I think I'd take the Chiefs over the Niners any day. Recently, our nation lost a basketball legend who not only left his mark on the floor of the Staples Center, but also on the rest of the world with his immense charity work. We dedicate our final Hot Takes question to one of the greatest of all time, Kobe Bryant. Isabel and Grace, share with us your favorite Kobe Bryant memory.
Sure, and I just want to start off by saying that all of us here at Unstoppable have really taken this seriously, and it's incredibly heartbreaking what happened, and we're sending all our thoughts and prayers to all the families affected in this horrible accident. But on that note, Kobe, like you said, Savannah, has been such an incredible legacy, has left such an incredible legacy for everyone involved in sports, athletes, journalists, fans. And with that, my favorite Kobe memory is actually with my little sister, who, she's not little anymore, she's only 3 years younger than me, but she's significantly taller than me and was an amazing basketball player when we were younger. and she had an incredible obsession with Kobe Bryant. And every time we would go to play basketball at like our neighborhood basketball court, she would not leave the house with her Kobe Bryant jersey and her Kobe Bryant like aqua and orange basketball shoes. And she was like 8 years old, and every time we'd play, she would wear these like iconic Kobe like clothing brand stuff. So, and she always beat me in basketball every single time, despite the fact that she was like 2 feet shorter than me. But yeah, it just goes to show that Kobe was such a figure, not only for, athletes, but also for young female athletes. He was such an influential person for my sister, who went on to play basketball for a while, and always looked up to him, and for all of us. And as we've grown older and, gotten into more sports journalism and becoming more involved with that, Kobe's just been such a legacy for all of us. And yeah.
Yeah, I think obviously Kobe Bryant's impact on the sports world, the basketball world, has been so incredible. One of the things I really admire about him is his work with philanthropy and with a lot of the organizations that he's started, especially like Isabel mentioned with young women athletes. I think that's incredibly impactful. Personally, watching him on the court, I think he's had some incredible games. 20 years with one team as the Lakers, that's incredible. And he's developed such an incredible legacy there. Especially one of my favorites is his Game 7 win against the Celtics. As a Boston person and a Celtics fan, I was a little sad to see them lose, but he's just such an incredible player to watch and a person to watch on and off the court that I really admire him for so much.
Yeah, I think Kobe definitely left an incredible basketball legacy. There's no doubt about it. Isabel, I loved your anecdote about your sister, so I'm going to give this one to you. I think personally my favorite Kobe memory was a recent one of him and his daughter Gianna, who passed away with him. They were at the Nets game courtside, and the cameraman got a shot of Kobe explaining some basketball tips to her. And that was just such an incredible moment to capture on camera, considering he coached her team. And it was just so great to see how invested he was in being what everyone is now calling a girl dad. I love that term. He was just such an amazing father figure to his 4 daughters. Congratulations to Isabel on winning Hot Takes today. All right, Colonials fans, sit back and relax as we highlight some player performances for you. In GW men's basketball's quadruple overtime win against Davidson, junior guard Maceo Jack had the Smith Center on its feet with all 35 points he scored. Jack channeled his inner beast mode to set a career-high single-game scoring record for himself. And he heavily contributed to his team's victory that night. As for GW women's basketball, 5'11" forward Alexandra Mond has been a driving force in A10 play, starting in all 6 conference games so far. In conference play, she leads her team with 78 points and 31 rebounds so far, the second most rebounds behind Mayoa Taiwo, who currently posts 40 rebounds total. Moving off the court and onto the mat, the gymnastics team senior co-captain Cindy Kraza was unstoppable as she topped her team in all 3 events she competed in at the UC Davis meet. To strengthen her case, Kraza almost achieved a perfect score on the beam, scoring a mere 0.2 points away from a perfect 10 out of 10. She got even closer to that ideal score when she scored a 9.825 on both the floor and the vault. As you can see, our athletes are raising very high this season, and we hope you Colonial fans continue repping the buff and blue. Raise high.
Well, that's all the time we have for today.
Don't forget to check us out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram at GW-TV.
Or check out more packages and exclusive content like our interviews with the cross country and tennis teams over on our Instagram at GWTV_unstoppable. See you next time!
Hello, Colonials fans. I'm Savannah Gaida, and welcome back to a fan favorite segment, Games You Just Can't Miss. We're beginning the first full week of February. Our basketball teams are deep in A10 play, our tennis teams have been dominating the courts, and we have simply been enjoying every second of GW sports. For you big men's basketball fans back home, the team will take a quick trip to Olean, New York to play St. Bonaventure on February 5th, but don't worry, they'll be back in the Smith Center on February 8th to add another win to their record, facing off against Rhode Island. Our women's basketball team will be away all week, but tune into ESPN Plus to watch them play St. Bonaventure and VCU this week. We've also got a weekend full of men's and women's squash right here in Foggy Bottom from Friday, February 7th to Sunday, February 9th. Support your squash teams in their battles to the highest rankings of the Mid-Atlantic Squash Conference Championship. Now directing the spotlight to our defending A10 softball champions, the team will be headed down to Mexico to compete against 5 other schools in the Puerto Vallarta College Challenge from February 6th to February 8th. And last but certainly not least, for all you GW fans in Pennsylvania, our women's water polo team will participate in the Bison Invitational in Lewisburg from February 7th to February 9th. Best of luck to those in buff and blue this week. Raise high.